Hey guys, it's Louis here, and today I'm making a video on wall mounting your monitor. So recently I moved my setup, and I decided I'd wall mount my monitor, and whilst I was looking for reviews and advice and that sort of thing on YouTube, there was barely any videos, so I figured now I've got mine done, I'd make a video and do my best to give any advice and that sort of thing on the matter. So yeah, first off, the one that I'm using is just a generic £8 one off eBay. This is the type that you get loads all across Amazon and eBay, and it ranges from about this price to about 20. So I figured they all seem to be the same sort of deal, so I figured I'd just go with a cheap one and hope it worked. So yeah, the monitor I'm using this with is an Asus VN247H. It's just got the usual VESA 100mm by 100, and that's what this bracket holds, but it also has holes for 75mm, which you can see there, and there's 100mm. So if you have either of them, it's compatible. So yeah, this is the wall mount, and first off, I guess fitting it is what I can talk about. It's quite simple, but when the bolts that this came with 10mm raw plugs and bolts, which are a bit extreme, and I figured I didn't want to break my wall completely, so I went to B&Q and got 8mm raw plugs and screw bolts that fitted them. And it came with washers, which is the one thing I'm still using with it. But yeah, you could use the 10mm one, but I didn't have a 10mm masonry bit, so I figured it, I had to get different ones. But yeah, these do the job fine. You could probably hold up a monitor on about 5.5, so anything above that's overkill, but oh well. So yeah, all you have to do is obviously figure out which height you want it on your wall, and then just mark out across. You can, I don't know if my camera will pick it up, there you can see a line. You just draw across where you want it, and then across out through this bolt there. I've done it slightly higher because I did it a different way, but this is how you want to do it. And then just check it with a level and make sure that's right. And then just on that axis there and there, wait, underneath, you just mark out the plug, mark out where you want to drill through, and then take the bracket off the wall and drill through, and then just do the same thing from the side bits. I'd be careful drilling into plaster, because even with 8mm raw bits, it's still blown out the plaster a little bit there, and I think on the other side, but it's nothing bad, but that's just something to be wary of, so don't go hammer it. And that was with 2 pilot holes, so yeah, but it's nothing serious. So yeah, the fitting bit onto the wall's fine, no problem. And then on this side is again just 4 normal screws. You can use a normal screwdriver to put in, quite easy. But it did come with 4 extra screws, which I'm not sure what for. I think it might be because this accommodates for 100mm VESA and 75mm. I think the bigger bolts might be fitting for a smaller monitor that uses 75mm, but I'm not sure. But I just didn't use them anyway. But yeah, so with the washers fitted on that side and not that side, because it's kind of pointless, that holds together fine. So yeah, that's the whole fitting process. Now in here, this will basically accommodate for 360 degrees of moving the monitor about. You can't move the whole thing down, like you can't have this down on a different level and then that flat. You have to just angle this down, which is what I've done. If you look at it side on, you can see it's angled down. So to do that, or my advice for that, is inside here there's a thread and a bolt. And to get at the bolt, you can't, any decent wrench won't fit in this gap here, so you'll have to take the monitor back off and then do it like that. But it was easy enough. Once you've got that off, you just twist this. So it just works off a basic axis, so it'll rock up and down. And you just angle it and then tighten it back up. It's nothing confusing. So yeah, now the functions of how well it backs up is something I didn't think of because it was a bit of a rookie mistake, but where the monitor holds in isn't level with where you've mounted it on the wall. So if you want to have it all the way back flat on the wall like that, you have to mount that slightly left of the centre, because I had that measured up with the centre of this part, not ignoring the drawer, about there, but because with this flat you can see that it's slightly off to the right, as the cable probably shows it most. So yeah, if you want to have it flat back, make sure to mount it slightly to the left. But because I pull mine out, you can pull it and then Now you can move it left and right all you want, so that's not a problem for me. So yeah, main reasons for this, which might be for other people, is I had it because my room's tiny and I have my bed there. I wanted it so when I was lying here like this, it's kind of, because it's not an IPS display, the colours are slightly off and that was a bit annoying. So now with it wall mounted, which is surprisingly useful, I can pull it out like that and then have it angled across here. I haven't sorted out the exposure, but you can have it angled out and you get the basic point, but it's quite useful. So yeah, now the movement of the monitor gives you 90 degrees sideways, I believe, but I've got the cable mounted so I can't turn it all the way, but I'm going to sort that out later because you don't really need to turn it 90 degrees unless you're coding. That would be the only real meaning or real purpose for doing that, because it's easier, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference. So it has that functionality, you can turn it right and left for 90 degrees. I don't think it will do 180. I haven't tested, I don't know why you'd want to. So yeah, and then as I pointed out earlier, it has a rock, so you can rock it forward. I think it's 15 degrees to 5 degrees back and 15 down, or it might be the opposite, but it gives enough for it to be okay. Just if you need it way more bent this way, then just mount it higher up on the wall and it will work out, if you get what I mean. Yeah, and then you can obviously just swivel it left and right, which is on that part there. These are all tightenable. I've done the nut on the bottom because it's more accessible, and then it's harder to put an Allen key in the top and then tighten it like that. So you can mount this both ways up, like that way or that way, but that's why I did it that way. So if you're wondering, keep the Allen key side up. So yeah, that's all the functionality of it. And then cables, I have two running. I've got the power one, obviously, and a HDMI to DVI-D, I think, plugged in over on my computer. What I'm going to do eventually, because I'm going to paint the walls of this room to a grey or wallpaper them, I'm going to have these cables. I'm not going to demonstrate, but I'm going to route these cables up there so you can't see them, along the back bracket of it there, like loop it up, and then along the wall here, across, and then into the computer there, and then in my drawer, nope, that's the important stuff drawer, I've got like this, which is like a cable shroud. I don't know if I'll be able to angle, there you go, it's like a cable shroud, and what I'll do, which is quite a clean thing to do, is run it across there so you can't see any cables and it looks floating, which is generally the purpose of this. But even not having the stand clears it up a surprising amount. It's really nice having it clear. So yeah, that'll be that. But if you have your PC under your desk, which is what I was originally going to do, you can just do the same principle but have it down the back, which is what you'll see most people doing if they have it wall mounted. Like in photos, you'll see them have it in a shroud down to the bottom, which is the cleanest way of doing it. But if you... Oh, that's not very good demonstration of this, but oh well. But even if you don't have or want to get any of that, that's the order there of the stuff. If you don't want to even get any of that, even just tying up the cables is quite neat. I put a Velcro cable tie here, which are those reusable ones. And then at the bottom, I've just put a cable tie across it. The cable management is awful because I haven't sorted it out yet. But yeah, that's that. But even that's quite neat as long as you tie them together. So you can do anything you really want. So yeah, I think that's most of what I have to say. Those are the most things I was looking for, whether it works out. But yeah, my basic conclusion is I'd recommend it because it first frees up loads of space. So if I want to do any work here, I can just push my keyboard and mouse back, and I've got loads more open room instead of having a huge bulky base there. I've got it here. So you can imagine how much space you're saving by not having that there and then all of that. So it's quite useful cleaning that up. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what one you get, as I've proven. I've got the cheapest one on eBay and an £80 one, yeah, £7.99, and it works perfectly. So whatever one you want to get, they're all basically the generic same one. I'd recommend whatever one you want to get. If you want to buy a more expensive one for peace of mind, you can if you want, but I don't have enough money to get something that isn't necessary. But yeah, so I'd recommend it, If you have any questions, ask in the comments, and I'll do my best to reply with any advice I have on it. And yeah, I can make a follow-up video once I've routed them across and painted all the walls and got all that done. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you have any questions or anything, you can leave them in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching, and see you later.